Hi. So you think women
He's probably
deserve
Jewish,
less?
chat. Leave him alone.
So you
What's
think
up?
women deserve
Real
less?
life chat.
So background, I've been enlisted in the military. I'm in ROTC right now.
Okay.
Why do you think a woman in the military is any less than a man except for physical aspects? First of all. Second of all, 75% of healthcare support workers are women. What are you going to do if all those women start going home and making sandwiches and that's all they do? What is your economy going to do? What is your military going to do? Think about it. Like, actually think about that. Tell me about that.
You're in the American military?
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay. Because you have an accent, so I wasn't sure if you're like, are you like dual citizen?
Yeah.
What country?
Britain. And I'm also a Zionist Jew.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
you think I have loyalty to Israel? What about to America? What about to Britain? That I would proudly serve and die for.
Well, first and foremost, I think having dual citizens in the armed forces is a big L. That's not good. And then number two, the reason why I don't think women should serve in combat positions is because women are physically inferior to men in every way.
What
And I
about all
think
the
it weakens-
non-combat positions? Think
was that?
about that.
What was that?
Non-combat positions. The army's not just grunts.
Of course, that's why I said combat positions. They shouldn't be in the front lines because I'd
That's
be
fine.
pissed off if I was in the infantry and I had a woman in my squad that can't even drag me to safety. You're only as strong as your weakest component. And,
Okay,
you know,
bar that. What happens if all the women go home and they just like making babies all the time and in the kitchen making sandwiches?
we'd have a
What
way
about
better society.
healthcare?
We'd have a
What
way
about
better
the
society.
economy? Almost 47% of the workforce is women. So
Yeah,
after
and
they
that's-
all go home,
Yeah. Yeah.
what happens to your economy?
It would be better.
You think it would be better?
Yeah. Yeah. You guys would be making sandwiches and we'd have nuclear families and the men can work and, you know, do what they're supposed to do.
It's
And,
2026. We have dual income households that can still barely get by.
yep. And this is why feminism is a huge problem.
So you're blaming feminism for that?
Yeah. It's led to a lot of problems.
Not
yeah.
the economy, not like Republican governors, not the government, tariffs, not Trump
Well,
doing
that's
all
another
that.
problem. Like women have the right to
Definitely not
vote.
that.
I think we should take the 19th away too.
That's
I think we
crazy.
need to repeal the 19th as well. Oh, they get triggered and just walk away. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to address like your argument about the Secret Service.
About what?
Sorry, not the Secret Service, the Selective Service.
Sure.
So you said that women shouldn't have the right to vote because we can't get drafted. So then couldn't you argue that older people who are too old to be drafted shouldn't be able to vote either?
Well, all men have to be in the selective service.
Right, but the
Otherwise, we go to jail or get fined.
Right, but that hasn't been a thing for several decades. It's in remission right now. So wouldn't you argue that there have been people in this lifetime that have never been in a period where they would have to be drafted. So do they get the right to vote, those men?
I mean, we're literally about to go to war with Iran right now.
Right, but there is no selective draft right now.
But okay, whether there's a draft or not, men are still on the hook and have to have skin in the game.
But
actually,
currently they're not,
as a
because that
matter of
law
fact,
was repealed after
the fact that
Vietnam.
you're even arguing with me this way actually kind of proves the privilege that you have. So here's the difference. If a man turns 18, right? We're here at a college, right? State school. You can't get a scholarship or get financial aid unless you're in the selective service. You can't get a government job. You can't get a state job. You have certain opportunities taken away from you if you don't enter into selective service. These are all the same things that women could do without being in the selective service.
So there actually was, I'm pretty sure there was a law that was, or bill that was proposed for women to also be drafted. If that were the case, and if it were to pass, do you think women would be able to vote then? Because now we have the same.
I wouldn't even want them in the military, to be honest with you. This is like a multi-pronged issue. Like, it's not just that they shouldn't vote. I also don't think women should be in the military in combat situations either. I think that's a man's job. That men should be doing that, not women.
Okay. I don't really know how to argue with you with that.
Well, because I got the truth on my side. Men are physically superior. So it's like
Well, women have been proven to be more intelligent on average.
most geniuses are men.
And
Most
Okay.
inventions were created by men. A lot of the modern conveniences you enjoy were made by men. The microphone you're using was made by a man. The stand was made by a man. All of this stuff was made by men. Women don't really contribute to the same degree as men do when it comes to infrastructure and inventions. The civilized life that you enjoy nowadays was created by men predominantly.
Well, that's because we live in a society that has favored men for a lot of time. I mean, women couldn't even enter the workforce until...
Okay,
the
well,
feminist
explain this to me.
movement.
Why is it that women are overrepresented in colleges, they're overrepresented in higher education, overrepresented in graduation, yet men still control the infrastructure and still keep the world running? Despite the fact that women are more educated now than ever before, make more money. I'll tell you why. Because women's choices put them in certain job fields that might not necessarily be as critical for human infrastructure. Women prefer to do jobs that deal with people, HR, firing people, saying, here's a safe space. Let's go ahead and have fun. Like, a lot of women have bullshit jobs. So
Okay,
it is what it is.
But I don't understand.
Not
If you
all,
think-
but a lot do.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I need to clarify something.
Sure.
So you say that women are stupid and they have bullshit jobs, but then you also say that I'm sorry. Hold on. Do you think women should be able to work?
What was that?
Do you think women should be able to work?
They shouldn't be prioritizing it.
They shouldn't be prioritizing.
They should not be prioritizing it. I'm obviously a realist, and I understand that we live in an inflated world, and two incomes and things are expensive. But I don't think that women should be prioritizing it. And unfortunately, women don't prioritize a family or a man at all. They wait until their late 20s, 30s, they hit their epiphany, and then they try to find a guy. And by then, a lot of times it's too late.
Well, I would argue that that's more of a societal problem because women they have to be financially independent.
They don't have to be. They choose to be.
In this society,
And the reason why they choose to be is because, back to what I was saying, most women don't find most men attractive. So most women...
why do you think that is?
Why?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's always been that way, right? Something like 90% of women have procreated since the beginning of time versus only 40% of men. So women have already almost always disqualified a majority of men, but thanks to social media, feminism, women having their own jobs, etc., even more men are disqualified from the sexual marketplace.
You don't think that the reverse is true for
I'm
men?
sorry?
That men have become more selective as well?
Not at all. Men have become far more desperate, if anything. To put things in perspective, the average female has more dating options and sexual market pull than like a celebrity dude.
So yeah, we could sleep with anyone we want, but the quality of men isn't good.
No, but the point is you have access to these men.
Right, but just because we have access doesn't mean that these are good men.
That's an opportunity. That's huge.
I'm
You
not
can go on a
understanding.
date, like you can literally walk into a bar and go, and people are not going to care. But if I do that shit, they're going to be like, what the fuck? Get this thing out of here. So it's like, it's not the same at all. Women have far more opportunities than men do when it comes to
but I'm
dating.
saying,
And the issue
yes, we
here,
have more opportunity, but they're not necessarily good opportunities, is what I'm saying.
well, trust me, there's going to be a couple good ones in there. It's just that you guys typically don't want to date them because they're boring or their socks don't match or some other frivolous reason women
I feel
disqualify
like you have
guys.
a very small, specific sample size of women.
I'm sorry?
Because the majority of women, as a woman, and with several friends who are women as well, we don't view guys this way. In fact, we look past a lot of traits that most people would consider problematic.
That's bullshit. The majority of women are chasing the top small percentage of men. That's just what it is. And look, that's just the natural selection. It's always been that way.
I
But
can see how you could believe that, seeing like your sample size. But from my perspective,
let's use this college campus for example. Who are the guys that are fucking the most girls on campus? More than likely, probably the frat guys and athletes, right? That's more. That's a social status thing, and that's almost representative of the real world too. So the girls here at the school, you can use this college campus as an example. The guys that are going to be cleaning up and have the most sexual access are a minority of the men that have some type of prestige or status on the campus, aka a big frat or one of the athletes, right? The football team is going to get, a guy from the football team, for example, here, is going to get way more girls than a guy that doesn't play a sport or a guy that's on a club team, right? So college almost sets you up for this, and it's a realistic interpretation of how the real world works when it comes to sexual, intersexual dynamics. And all the women are attracted, not all, but a majority of the women are attracted to a small percentage of the men. And this is literally embodied right here on the college campus. The real world is very similar.
So you're saying that men, like you were saying before, they should go to the gym and they should better themselves to
Absolutely.
attract more women.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree with that.
Absolutely. But a lot don't.
Right. So then why does that fall on the women? Why should men why should women
I'm not
accept
complaining about,
subpar men?
I want to be clear about this. I'm not like complaining that women are hypergamous. I'm just letting guys know that this is how women are. Because the problem here is that men aren't taught this stuff. They're taught women are sugar and spice and everything nice, be a gentleman, chivalry, blah, blah, blah. And they're not taught these unflattering and, black pill type realities about female nature. They think it's a Disney fairy tale. So that's why I put out these facts, because a lot of guys don't figure this out until it's too late. I'm sure you've heard a couple guys come up here where they gave it all to a girl, they were in a relationship, it ended up badly because, they were simping or they treated her like an equal or they didn't uphold their end of the bargain with, provisioning or being
I
a
feel
leader.
like that's survivorship bias. Only the people whose relationships didn't work out are going to complain.
Well, relationships are kind of in the toilet. We have high divorce rates. We have women that are, finding a majority of men as, unsatisfactory from a relationship perspective. Like, it's kind of, women's standards have went up, and alongside that, more and more guys are being ostracized, which, again, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just bringing this out there to all the guys out there that being an average guy no longer works.
All right, that's all I had to say.
No problem. Who's up next? Ladies first.
Thank you.
What's up?
Hi.
earlier you were talking about, or someone came up here talking about women being on OnlyFans. Would you support eradicating like OnlyFans and porn as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think pornography has a lot of problems. I think it should be absolutely limited to some degree for sure. It's a big problem.
Do you think that it's more on the women that are posting this, or the men that are like consuming said content, or
Both
should it
parties.
really be on both?
Both parties.
Okay, and also you were talking about women not being able to vote, which is obviously
Repeal
extreme.
the 19th Amendment. Yeah.
I assume that comes from your stance of like modern day feminism, where women have really taken it out of its bounds. I feel if you went to non-modern day feminism, like just, I guess, Jane Addams, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, like just advocating for women to that they're worth more than just being in the home. Do you think that chivalry and all of those things that you said no longer apply to courting and dating, that could work if that type of feminism is what prevailed today?
I mean, chivalry is dead and women killed it.
So do you feel that it is solely because of women that it's dead?
It's a big contributor to the destruction of chivalry, yes. It's a big. It's not the only thing. You know, you can make other arguments.
Okay. And how do you feel that, like, what exactly did women do? I'm curious.
Say that again?
What exactly did women do to have chivalry die on their behalf?
Because men that treat women chivalrously typically are not rewarded for that. They're punished for it. There's a reason why the phrase "nice guys finish last" is extremely popular and it stood the test of time.
I was curious, where do you get your generalizations from? Because you're kind of talking...
On what topic specifically?
Well,
I said a lot.
yeah, I gotcha. You're kind of talking about, like, it seems like to me you've spoken to every single woman on the planet. Because I know myself as a person, and I am antithetical to everything you're describing as
Okay,
being
so
a
you would
woman.
identify as a feminist, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
I think women deserve rights.
Okay.
So my question that you haven't answered
go ahead.
was, how do you get your generalizations if you haven't spoken to every single woman on the planet? Because personally, I believe that stereotypes are incredibly harmful and not productive. Oh, yeah. What, your response? No,
I'll
go
let you
ahead.
finish
just
what you had to
laughed.
say.
Yeah, that's what
You're
I
done?
had to say.
Okay. Yeah, so this is another, like, progressive ideology that's kind of retarded, and I'll explain what I mean by this.
Okay.
Stereotypes typically are rooted in
Very
fact,
yes, very.
right? Like, that's what it is, right? Like,
Very
if you're walking down the street at night and you see, like, 3 black dudes walking towards you with Nike fleeces on, you're probably going to cross the street because you don't want to get mugged, right? If you want to hire a lawyer after getting arrested, you're probably going to hire a Jewish lawyer, right? You know Asians are going to be good at math and do your algebra homework. So it's like...
So you've spoken to every minority on the fucking planet?
Okay, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule.
Right.
But the world operates on generalities. So that's just how it is. Actually, you know what? This is interesting. This is something that women have a tough time understanding, actually. I'm glad. This is a perfect example of what I mean. Mm-hmm. So women have a problem with generalities, especially if it doesn't apply to them. So, like, let's say, for example, I say something like, yeah, a lot of these girls are sluts, or a lot of these girls are dumb. A girl will say, well, I'm not. Like, okay, cool. But that still doesn't override the fact that a majority are. So...
What?
What is
generalizations
your data?
Generalizations is how the world works.
Right, but where is your data? I'm asking for where you get
Okay,
those
what specific point do you have a
generalizations.
contention with that you want me to...
I don't think all girls are sluts. Or
I
most
never said all girls are
I'm
sluts.
sorry. I don't think most girls are sluts.
A lot of them are.
Okay, I would love your argument.
Okay. So women, right, have way more sexual access than men do. Okay?
How so?
What was that?
How so?
Because women are still getting laid while men don't. So what does that show? That shows that women are having sex with the same small percentage of guys, pretty much. Like, their
But where are you getting this information? Because I can pull anecdotal information out of my ass,
There's many different studies that show this, whether it's like the Family Studies Institute or which deals with female promiscuity or whatever. The point is, I'm trying to say is that women have more sexual access than men. And since they have more sexual access to men, they're far more likely to be promiscuous. And a lot of girls are promiscuous. Now, is that every single girl? No. But I do think that men need to adapt to the new normal where a lot of women are promiscuous. And you probably don't want to commit to these girls long-term as a guy because that's going to create problems for you. Because we've seen studies where the higher a woman's notch count, right, or sexual partner history, the higher the likelihood of divorce or a failed marriage. Because women don't respond the same to sex as men do. For us, it's like taking a piss. For you guys, it's like, a big deal.
Okay, great generalization.
Because women have far more biological investment in sex. You guys can get pregnant. We don't. So that's what I'm trying to say.
So what would you say to men committing the most violence and sexual violence in America? Like how does that play into women?
That's a completely different topic.
How? So because you were talking about how, woman bad this, woman bad that, woman sluts.
I never said woman bad.
You don't think your rhetoric perpetuates that? You don't think the culture of men are agreeing with your points and going out and making these generalizations of saying, I hate women? Women deserve less.
Yes, and that's precisely what women respond favorably to, yes.
Right. So that's your only generalization you're going to...
Yeah, women don't respond favorably to nice guys. So therefore, when you meet a girl and you're seeing her, you can't give her everything and pedestalize her.
I would love your argument for that.
I'm sorry?
I would love your argument for that.
That nice guys finish last?
Yeah.
That's what you're asking? Like nice guys finish last?
Yes, I would love to hear it.
Okay. I mean, I think it's kind of common sense that
common
nice
sense.
guys
That's
get friend zoned. What was that?
Common sense isn't an explanation.
Okay.
Just get to the point, please.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
I have a job. I know you don't like that, but...
You should be in a kitchen somewhere. That'd be a good job.
Yeah.
But anyway.
See, everyone laughing at that. You don't think that's an issue?
Because you're just not accepting, this is like common sense.
Common sense.
Nice guys don't do well with women because nice guys pedestalize females. This is repulsive because women don't want a guy that pedestalizes them.
So
they want a guy that they're chasing the validation of. They want a guy who feels better than them. So if I meet a girl and I pedestalize her and give her everything off rip, that implies that I see her value as higher than mine.
How?
And that is completely unattractive to females.
How is treating someone with kindness? You're mistaking that.
I'm not saying not to be kind. I'm saying don't give her the world and be a simp. Big difference.
What do you see as giving a girl the world?
Contacting her too much, taking her out on expensive dates right away, giving her money, any of this stuff. See, and this is the thing. Since you're a female, you don't understand these dynamics because you don't have to deal with women. Mm-hmm. But for guys, this is a very real dynamic where guys have to come into a relationship and preserve attraction by not being a nice guy. Because women don't respond favorably to nice guys. What you say you want versus what you respond to.
I can use anecdotal evidence as well. And, when I've dated or spoken to men, I prefer the men who don't give the bullshit rhetoric that you give.
Okay, so you dated nice guys before?
I've dated kind men, yes.
Okay, so where are they now then?
Where are they now? Living their lives?
Exactly.
I have one right now.
Point proven.
No, it's not a point proven because you have value differences. Doesn't mean that I said, wow, they're an awful man because they took me out on expensive dates and I feel like that someone should value me less. What? Why is that? Why should I believe that?
That's fine. Look, you don't have to believe what I'm saying.
I know.
Because you're not a man. But once again,
how does that
privilege is invisible to those that have it. You don't understand what it takes to be attractive as a guy because everything is handed to you as a female. You don't have to worry about approaching, learning to be attractive, making a bunch of money, having status, having a commanding voice, speaking in an active voice. This is stuff that women don't have to worry about.
Do you think I have men at my feet paying my rent and giving me an education and giving me job opportunities?
Well, the point is that you can. It doesn't mean that you're not.
That's not true.
Okay, really?
If it were true, every woman would be going through that.
A lot of them do. Now, just because you don't seize the opportunity doesn't mean that other women don't do it, or better yet, that they don't have the opportunity. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying you can. That's the big distinction. You can.
I have been rage baited by you for about an hour, and your arguments have zero substance. So enjoy your sandwiches.
Zero what you said?
I will be gone.
Okay, there you go. It's triggered women as usual.